friends, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel if you are new here. I am Libby, and on my channel I share my story of domestic violence. I also share my struggles with mental health and disordered eating. So if any of that interests you, please stick around. Specifically today though, we are going to be talking about what literally no one tells you after you've been in a toxic relationship and then you get into a healthy one. These are things that nobody has ever said to me. I just had to find out on my own. So I am here to share these things with you so that you might not struggle as hard as I have with making that transition. All right, so first thing is first, I need a drink of my coffee. Secondly, I think I have some experience on this topic. I was in a very terrible relationship for 3+ years, and then some time elapsed in between that relationship, and I finally found a healthy one that I have also been in for about 3.5 years. So I think I have a good comparison of what I struggled with back then to what I'm struggling with now in this relationship. Let's just dive into it. You're gonna struggle, and it's gonna be hard. I feel like we are portrayed with this vision of going from a tumultuous, toxic, bad relationship, and then we just transition into a healthy one. It's like this light bulb goes off and you're like, yes, everything is so easy. Everything makes sense. It's so simple. Everything is so simple. No. No. Healthy relationships are honestly more work than the toxic relationship was. When you're in a toxic relationship, you're in survival mode. You are just trying to get through it. When you are in a healthy relationship, you gotta grow. Like, you have to put in some work. Now, I'm not trying to say that healthy relationships are extremely hard. They're not. Like, it's easier to be present with my person. It's easier to exist and coexist together. Like, in a sense of, you know, I'm not in fight or flight mode all of the time. I'm not a super anxious little butterfly because I have no idea what that person is doing or where they are or when the next fight is going to happen, right? Just saying that if you want your healthy relationship to continue to evolve and thrive, it's not easy. And having open communication with somebody and pushing yourself to have really difficult conversations isn't easy breezy lemon squeezy, right? It's not. Is that the saying? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This next one is just wholeheartedly for myself. Stop trying to sabotage it. Stop it. So I have this skill that I have mastered. Around 1.5 to 2 years into a relationship, I'm like, this is probably too good to be true, so I'm a dip. Even in my relationship right now, I told my boyfriend, I said, listen, I have a problem. And as we were coming up on our 2-year mark, I was like, I feel that the tides are turning in my own brain. I feel the sabotage coming on. I need you to work with me here. I would try to pick fights and find problems where there were no problems. Anything that I could basically manipulate my own self into thinking was a good enough reason to dip out of the relationship because it was too good to be true and my body was getting uncomfortable in the peace. Man, toxic relationships really mess you up. Like, that doesn't make sense. Why do you feel uncomfortable in peace? That's so rough. God, that's sad. The key here to this is open communication. And if your person doesn't understand where you're coming from, I think that's okay. But just being open with them and communicating about it and having those conversations is the first step. This next one, you're the toxic one now. You're the captain now. Yeah, you're the problem now. And this one took me a minute to realize. I honestly didn't realize this until I was in therapy a year ago. So about like 2 years into our relationship. And I'm not talking about toxic in the sense of like my ex who cheated on me, lied to me, stole my money, did many other things. I have a whole story on it if you want to go watch it. I will link that in the cards above. Toxic in the sense of I have a lot of insecurities that I know are my problem and I really try not to project on him. Sometimes it happens, like if he doesn't respond to me in a text, I really have to control my thoughts, because I can get into this like overthinking spiral of, okay, he's probably out cheating on me, or he's probably out wrecking my car or something. Like, all of these past traumas just come to the front, and I have to try not to project those onto him, because it's literally nothing he did. He did not do any of those things. And there have been times where I project and I'm like, that wasn't meant for you. Like, that's not for you, and that's not because of you. Once I realized that I am the problem most of the time because of the little situations I create in my own noggin, I really had to do some inner searching and inner healing, and that's where therapy came into a huge play. I wouldn't have been able to recognize or do any of the things in coping skills because I didn't have them. Here are some tips that have helped me to kind of overcome these things. Again, I say I still struggle with a lot of them, but it's much, much better. First tip I have is, if you have access to therapy, a therapist, that would be my number one tip. I did not know any of the coping mechanisms or the things that I was doing or the place that they were coming from until I talked to my therapist. A lot of things kind of made sense, and I would just immediately stop doing them because I knew where it was coming from. I could logic my way out of having those conversations or having those reactions to basically nothing. Having a safe and open space with your partner is huge. Not saying that it's going to look perfect all of the time and you guys are going to have perfect communication all the time. Remember, I said these relationships are hard. But knowing that if you are struggling with something, you can go to the person that you're struggling with, and they are going to have an open space for you. I know that if I go to my boyfriend and be like, I'm really struggling with our relationship lately, I can talk to him about that. And he's not going to sit there and be like, well, why don't you just leave? If you're not happy, just leave. That's never going to be something that he says to me. And I'm so thankful for that. So making sure you set those boundaries to have that open communication. Making time for you and only you. You need to focus on yourself. If you are going to be in a healthy relationship, you have got to learn to love yourself, learn to stand alone as a person. You become your partner and your whole personality is so enveloped in them and you are so tied to them. That is when these other issues of trying to sabotage it, overthinking it, having anxiety, that's when you're going to ramp yourself up more because your personality is so tied in them and you think that if you ever lose them, your world is going to absolutely end. I am my own person. I have my own goals. I have my own ambitions. We together as a couple have our own ambitions. We have our goals, but we are our own separate humans. And that is something that I have never really focused on in previous relationships, especially in my toxic relationship. It was always for him because he manipulated my reality into being that way. So trying to unravel yourself from that mindset can be really, really hard. And the last thing, just breathe. Just take a deep breath. In any situation that you are in, just breathe. Because I guarantee you, you're clenching your teeth and you're holding your breath and you're letting your thoughts race. Unclench your teeth, rest your shoulders, take a deep breath. One of the things I love to say to myself when I feel myself spiraling with any of these issues, put my hand on my heart and say, I am safe. Taking a second just to get out of your own head and breathing, it's going to take you places, I promise. All right, friends, I hope that this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. I know that I'm not alone in any of this, so I just figured I would share my experiences and what has been helping me. If you want to go check out my full domestic violence story, I will link that here. And I also have some pretty good tips on this playlist as well. So go check those out and I will see you next time. Bye.